to inspire social change. Throughout all of this dedication to others, Carolina is a 3-time cancer survivor who has not lost her fighting spirit. She also helps raise funds for Mary's Place by the Sea, a retreat house for women recovering from cancer. So without further ado, please join me in celebrating Ms. Carolina Zakowski, Women's Advocacy Award recipient.
I'm gonna burst your bubbles because someone put 3-time cancer, they're adding a cancer, it's only 2. Yes, but it's still all good. So thank you for honoring me with this award. To the Commission on the Status of Women, the Board of Chosen Freeholders, for recognizing the need to reward women for outstanding achievements, I thank you. To Chris, Bob, and Kate for nominating me, supporting me, and always fighting for what is right alongside me. Thank you, truly. To the YWCA Union County and my Executive Director, Jan Lillian, for leading the DV movement with compassion and strength. To my supervisor and soon-to-be former supervisor, Tricia Espinoza, and my YW family here tonight, past and present, Roslyn, Rachel, Chris, Kate, and Chrysula. You have provided unconditional support. You have been exceptional listeners. And you have all had a hand in shaping me into the woman that I am. I am grateful for all that you are, the strength that you exhibit in your work, and especially for the marvels that you achieve each day when working to support those that have no voice. I brought a notebook. To my family here tonight and those that couldn't make it, my sister who just had a baby, Usha, Valdek, Alex, Chila, and my brother from another mother, my very special Thomas, you have shown me that women are unstoppable. We are not pink, and we are not lace, and we are not all things delicate. We protest for human rights. We raise exceptional and kind children. We are forces to be reckoned with. Thank you. To my parents, I'll just ask, my dad is already standing, camera in hand, so I'll ask my mom to stand. Stand, Mom. And does anyone speak Polish? You're about to learn real fast. So my parents sent me to Polish school every Friday of my life for as long as I can remember. So this is my ode to them. Dziękuję, żeście mi świat pokazali, żeście wierzyli, że wszystko potrafię. Oh, Jesus is right. I cried in the car too. Że mnie kochacie, przez to mogę tu dzisiaj stać przed wami. So in English, for everyone who doesn't speak Polish, or the few that don't, thank you for showing me the world, for believing in me and loving me. All of that and more has allowed me to stand here before you today. When I got a job at the YWCA many moons ago, I didn't think that I would qualify, even though I had a degree in women's studies. I didn't have experience, and I had a hard time finding work in the domestic violence field. I had been a retail clerk, a jean folder, a secretary, a nanny, and I had been kicked out of college one time. I was bursting with joy when I got an interview. I got that job as a supportive housing case manager for domestic violence survivors. And the person who hired me is here today as well, Chrysula. I can only imagine that you saw potential in me and you took a chance. And since that day, I have been eternally thankful to call you a boss at one point and always a mentor and a friend. When I was diagnosed with cancer and the doctor told me that there was no cure, nothing else to do, she was the first person outside of my family to come over and sit with me. I told her I wasn't so much afraid of dying, although I didn't want to drop dead, of course, but I was terrified that I might not find anything funny anymore, that I'd never be able to laugh again. And I remember a tear coming down her cheek, and I'm not sure if she remembers this, and she pressed her lips together and she said, "You will." I take a lot of my cues from that moment when I work with survivors of domestic violence. There is never a lull in my work. 1 in 3 women will experience DV in their lives. If you look around the room, look at all of the women at your table and start counting off. I am certain that there are too many victims in this room and certain that there are many more survivors. We have the power to change that. I think that most of you are here because you want to be a part of that change for all women. Listening to and believing a victim's story can be life-altering. Gentle support and compassion go a long way. Just like when Priscilla sat with me and uttered 2 simple words, "You will." There is no timeline attached to that, no judgment. She provided acknowledgement and safety, and you all have the power to be ambassadors of hope and safety, especially as women. When I was growing up, I was and still am very close to my grandmother, my Babcia. At the age of 5, I remember wishing I could grow up and be just like her. She was a cleaning lady in New York City in the high-rises. She rode the subway, and most importantly, she smoked Newports and she went dancing at nightclubs. I thought that she was so free and so powerful, and I wanted to be just like that. She probably didn't realize it then. We have the ability to be strong role models for our girls and our boys, and we need to remember that we don't need a PhD to do that. The last thing I'll share with you is the importance of strong, kind, and supportive men in our lives and communities. You can clap, it's okay. I'll get my face together in the meantime. It's not just women who are part of the movement to empower women, but men as well. And we must acknowledge that, always. In addition to beautiful moments, there are many disappointments and hardships that have paved my road. At one point, I had applied for a position that would promote me within my career. I thought I had it in the bag, but instead, someone else was chosen. So this last story, in case he thinks that I forgot him, is an ode to my husband, Rob, and all men who are our allies. I texted him and told him I didn't get the job. I was incredibly sad and disappointed. And when I walked into our apartment, he was holding a box. It wasn't diamonds. It was a Lego box. A few weeks prior to this occurring, I had spoken at a panel about domestic violence, which was held at the United Nations in New York City during their International Commission on the Status of Women conference. He handed me the Lego box, which was an architecture series. The building in the box was the United Nations. And he said to me, "Did the other candidates speak at the UN?" No. Probably not. And he said, "Of course not." He continued, "We'll build the Lego United Nations together, and you'll put it on your desk at work to remind you of all of the great things you've accomplished and will accomplish." So the last person I want to honor and thank tonight is my supportive, strong, kind, hilariously funny husband, Rob. So this is the last 20 seconds. The moral of the stories is this: we are powerful. We can use that power for good, for change, to support, to love. And when we do, we not only create women of excellence, but also men of excellence. And remember that when all else fails, get yourself a pack of Newports and a Lego box. Thank you.